do it. Let's do it.
Checkmate. Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What is going on, everybody? Guess what? XRP is not a security. Ripple still not a security. Ripple growing their base, growing with new ODL partners all over the world. We talked about Bank of America the other day. Africa moving $1 trillion through over to ODL. Chip, you know what? There's a new Congress and there's a new day brewing.
It's a new day among us, and we just cannot wait. You ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
That new day is January 3rd. That's the new day. That's when the new Congress takes over from the blue team to the red team. And we've got some stuff. We got a great appearance from Tom Emmer, which one of our favorites here at OTC. And it's a good one. He's on with Charles Payne. Charles Payne, one of my favorite newscasters. He's always is no bull. That's what I like about it, Jeff. No bull. Guys, drop where you're from, wherever you're from, wherever you might be from, and also
the
country.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend, Alchemist.
Alchemist. Yeah, let's hear it from Alchemist. Yeah. All right, let me pull this up. So let's listen. This is a good clip, by the way, man. This is good stuff. And don't forget, Tom Emmer. He is the whip. And man, I cannot wait. You ready to break this down? Let's go.
Joining me now, Minnesota Congressman Tom Emmer. First of all, congratulations on your new role as Majority Whip. I can't wait for some of the ideas that you're going to bring to that job. But I want to talk about this because you've been at the forefront of this long before the you-know-what hit the fan. Let's start by playing a portion of a recording of a conversation that was recalled by CME President Terry Duffy. And it's got some shocking things in here about a conversation he had with Sam Bankman-Fried. Take a listen.
Let me be your risk manager. I'll clear it to make sure it's done properly. He says, well, you won't deploy my model. I said, your model is crap. Why would I deploy a model that's going to introduce risk to the system? He turned me down, flat out turned me down. And that's right away I said to him, I said, you know what, you're a fraud. You're an absolute fraud. I went to Congress. I've never seen a Washington, D.C. like I saw that time, from the regulators to the members of Congress, singing hymns that I never heard before. He said that you could lose 85 to 90% of your value overnight. And I said, he will not commit to keeping this just to crypto. I said, the reason is because he wants to deploy it across all asset classes. I said, that is a biblical disaster if you people allow this to happen.
I guess the question, Congressman, is why did you people allow this to happen?
Well, we did not. And Terry is a good friend. He does a great job at CME. He's one of the good guys in the marketplace. And it's interesting because we've had a good relationship for the last couple of years. You can ask Terry. My office has been heavily involved in this area, as you know, Charles, for more than just the last couple of years. We've been heavily involved since I came to Congress several years ago. Terry never said that directly to me, but I'll tell you what. Terry is one of the good guys. And when he goes to Sam Bankman-Fried and he offers him tens of millions in customer accounts and returns for managing his risk, and Sam Bankman-Fried turns him down, he's got the right to have the red flags go up. This literally is not just a failure of FTX. It's a failure of CeFi, that's known as centralized finance. It is not a failure of crypto. This is a failure of it's a failure of Sam Bankman-Fried. It's a failure of business ethics, and it's a failure of the government oversight and regulatory procedures.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring that up because you've always been a champion of technology, the role that it's played in the prosperity of Americans, and you've been a very strong critic of Gary Gensler. You've urged accountability. What's going on there? Why? I mean, why? What do you think? What are they telling you about the inability to add clarification to this issue, making it worse?
We've got major questions, Charles. I mean, look, Gary Gensler and the SEC, apparently they had meetings last March with Sam Bankman-Fried and executives from FTX and a trading firm here in the U.S., and they were working apparently with Sam Bankman-Fried and others to give them special treatment from the SEC that others aren't getting. and they announced a partnership with this trading firm last April. We kept trying to find out what exactly the partnership is all about. We didn't get those answers. And obviously, Sam Bankman-Fried then was pushing special treatment legislation through Congress. And when it was finally revealed what it was, and the industry actually started raising red flags all over the place, that's when this thing came apart. And it's really a failure, it appears, of Gary Gensler to actually deal with the bad guys. You got to ask yourself, Charles, where was he on Celsius? Where was he on Voyager? Where was he on Terra Luna? And now, where was Gary Gensler on FTX? Yeah. This is exactly what he's supposed to be doing. And Terry was talking about that. What is the regulator responsible for this doing, going after good actors in the community and working backroom deals, it appears, with people who are doing nefarious things?
Representative, we got less than a minute to go, about 30 seconds. Sam Bankman-Fried supposed to be at a New York Times DealBook conference. Last I looked yesterday, he was still on the program, but they also added Ben Affleck. I don't know what that's all about, but I mean, he's still being feted by parts of the industry as some sort of wonder kind. I mean, what the heck is going on?
Charles, the New York Times is not the industry. I've stopped trying to understand the New York Times. They wrote a puff piece on him within the last week for some reason. Here's a guy who mismanaged funds, it appears. There's, a million investors out there. There's $10 billion, that $8 to $10 billion. We need to get to the bottom of this. We need to understand why Gary Gensler and the SEC were not doing their job. We need to understand how this was allowed to get to the point where people and their savings are getting hurt. Yeah. That's exactly what the regulator is supposed to be taking care of. Yeah. And by the way, it's not about crypto. Remember, this is about centralized finance. DeFi is the point. They're going after decentralized finance. This is not what it's about. Right. It's not about the crypto industry. This is about Sam Bankman-Fried. It's about the regulator, Gary Gensler, and it's about centralized finance, which needs to be brought under our regulatory umbrella. And Gary Gensler has done nothing to make that happen.
And I really hope you guys bring in Silicon Valley, which I think plays a major role in this, and a whole bunch of other things that have ripped off the American public. Congressman, again, congratulations. I'm glad you came.
Yeah. That was nice, right?
Yay.
Man.
Yeah, fantastic. Love that.
Yay.
Yeah. Okay. Right? That was awesome. Yeah, you got to like that because, I mean, this is what's great. Man, the new day is almost here, Jeff, and happy days are almost here again because you know what's going to really happen when this? Yeah, thank you, Emmer. You know what's going to happen, Mr. Emmer? First of all, that token taxonomy needs to be dusted off in the closet somewhere in the financial services back room there. Dust it off, get it back up, pump it full of thing, get the paddles clear, boom, and then just resuscitate that puppy, put it up for a vote, get it out on the floor, and let's bring that thing can be passed in no time. And the Senate will pass it. And you know what else? Somebody might veto it. And how do you think that's going to work? Just like everything else has. Very poorly.
I'll show you how it's going to work.
Come on, man. Berserker.
Berserker.
That's how it's going to work.
It'll be Berserker.
What is a Berserker? What is going on?
All the way.
Round peg in a square hole.
There's some good comments here that I wanted to get to. Can't wait for Emmer to talk to Gary Gensler, says Veritas Equata Semper.
Oh, man, that's going to be amazing.
And then Stuart says him and emails get released to the public on December 5th. Is that true or are they redacted? I think they're redacted, no?
Yeah, it's about time. We need some momentum. Miguel saying, what I like about Tom Emmer is that he talks stuff about the corruption going on, but never has he or other congressmen called for an investigation of Gary Gensler, as per John Deaton. But the time is now upon them. You know, prior to, he didn't have any power to call any kind of investigation. Come January 3rd, let's have that conversation again, and we'll see if they bring him in for an investigation. I think
if you're not the party in power, you can just sit there and make smoke all day long. But let's say now when you get the power, what are you going to do about it? And there's a little bit of power struggle going on right now because you have a guy that's going to be the speaker. Probably as dumb as the last speaker. I hate to tell you, but probably dumber than the last speaker. And that's unfortunate because the people that should be running it, like guys like Tom Emmer or Warren Davidson or Patrick McHenry, or just I mean, almost anybody else. There's a host of Matt Gates. I mean, there's so many people that could do a great job. Look at this. Alchemist, you shocked by this? He says, I actually like Tom Emmer. My goodness. Yeah. Are you okay? You running a fever there, Alchemist? You okay? You feeling great?
He's bringing it.
Cryptofer says
Baluchistan,
Iran. That's where he's in from. Your model is crap. That was great.
That was the best.
Terry Duffy's awesome. You know, Terry Duffy, CME, that's the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, like #1 derivatives in the world. You're talking about the top of the top that Terry Duffy runs, okay? And Sam Bankman-Fried, a snot-nosed little whiny little bitch, gets in there and telling Terry Duffy, you're not going to deploy my model. Dude, your model's crap. And then he called him a fraud. That's the best part ever. He called him a fraud.
Oh, that's amazing. He kind of ended up being a pretty big fraud indeed. Indeed.
He's a fraud. He's dumber than dumb. So let's take a look let's do some Ripple news here. We got some other little kind of clips to play here.
Yeah.
But I'm going to play some clips here. We got some clips. They're just short little ones. They kind of came out about, the Swell conference. Ooh. This one's scaling your business with crypto and blockchain.
After we adopt Ripple
SVP.
with the ODL as well,
Triangle.
It makes the whole transactions to be much more smoother. It used to take half a day at least. Right now it's only 5 minutes to get the funds from Australia all the way to Singapore within 5 minutes times, and it allows to create more business opportunity for us as well. So based on what we have seen after we adopt, we have seen 15% growth from the day we start until today.
We can scale up, scale down. We know when our peaks are, and we can give these guys a heads up, the Ripple team a heads up. This is going to be the forecast we have ahead. And we've done that for, we've got Lunar New Year coming up. It's a huge part of our year. And we know that that's not going to be, there's no roadblocks to that. These guys will know, our partners will know, and it's just an incredible sort of liberating process. We want to grow and without any roadblocks.
Without any roadblocks, right?
That's really great. And there you go, man. I like that, moving money in 5 minutes. There's some really amazing things that are going on, and that's where, Ripple is ahead of the curve. It's really exciting to see what, a company can do, put up, forget about all their other issues, but, what they're doing from a cross-border payment solution perspective, amazing. Still not sure where I stand on their rollout of the CBDCs, but this is really all telling, to see the growth overseas where we're seeing a lack of growth here in the US market.
Yep.
Mainly because of what we just talked about, Tom Emmer, hit it out of the park, really the emphasis being on some of the power players that are in control, in power, and Gary Gensler, unfortunately being, one of them, but some of this stuff was going on, before he came.
Exactly. Yeah, so that first clip we heard there, that was Marcus Tan. He's from Trianglo, and that I believe Ripple has like a 40% stake in Trianglo. And he was talking about how you move money. And then it was followed up by Diane Wen, who was basically from the Eastern Allied high money transfer. So you had two money transmitters talking about the value. And it's like, if a guy like Gary Gensler spent, I don't know, just maybe randomly clicked on this tweet, Jeff, and maybe watched, what is this? It's like it's not that long of a clip. I mean, how long is it? It's a minute clip. I mean, just educate yourself, man. Like the use cases are ridiculously insane.
Dude, and it's amazing.
And yeah, they're using Ripple software, but it's in conjunction with, but the SEC said they don't have a use case. This is the sad part. They it doesn't have a use case, and it doesn't have a use case. It has a hell of a use case, man. There's a use case everywhere, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But this is let's look at this one here. This one's tokenization of real world assets. Another little clip from Swell here.
The real estate industry is obviously one of the most obvious spaces or industries to bring onto chain. We felt that we could use tokens to exchange value and build a better level of trust in these relationships.
From the perspective of recruiting high value talent for something like building a gigafactory in Nevada, being able to target and cryptographically prove that someone, for example, took a specific class, got a specific grade, participated in a specific club. These have tremendous economic value. Boom!
There you go.
Boom is
Tokenization,
right.
Jeff.
Man, that is he hit something that's really critical. And it can, really focus in on licensing. You talk about you take a certain class, you get a certain degree, you can verify and validate, what you've done. And you think about how that follows the transparency mechanism within the blockchain and the tokenization of the real world. I mean, it's just, we talk about it a lot, right? But now when you hear it coming from, their conversations at their conference, and these guys are living and breathing it every single day, it's really impressive because they're on the forefront trying to make the change. And there's obviously a lot of resistance. I would like to see it, even in academia. Imagine, if we had blockchain in academia and the tokenization of universities. Think about what that could do for future generations. I mean, it's really there's so much validity to what they're saying, what they're emphasizing. And I'm looking at what they're talking about, what they're doing at the conference, and then at the same time, just to kind of put and just do a comparative on this. This is what's happening in the real world. Here they're talking about XRP poised to break new ground as Ripple unveils this new $1 trillion worth ODL corridor. So now you have a corridor getting ready to develop over in Africa. Huge amounts of money, mobile money value in Africa, the use of its fast and cost-effective on-demand liquidity service. So there they are. They're referencing it. They're talking about it, and then it's there in reality. It's being developed. It's being implemented. And so to really focus, and this brings me back, Chip, to one thing when Brad Garlinghouse was over in Dubai or in the Emirates somewhere, and they were talking, and he started referencing the lawsuit, and someone said, "Hey, you know what? They don't really over here. We don't really care. Whatever lawsuit you're facing, we don't really care about the SEC, and we don't care about the lawsuit in the U.S. because look what's going on. You got this massive development chip, this massive marketplace right here. Look at this. The partnership with MFS Africa signals a move by Ripple to capture a considerable portion of the continent's $2.7 trillion market opportunity. Obviously, you can look at massive market opportunity, but this is so meaningful. And this is just overall because using ODL is significant, obviously, because of the fact that it's built on the XRPL. That's real world use case, despite, again, what Gary Gensler wants everyone to believe. That's the exact opposite.
Yeah. So I kind of want to segue back to this video because, again, going back to the first guy here, the first one to speak is John McCoy, and he's from ProprHome, and that's what we talked. That's the Portugal blockchain company.
The real estate industry is obviously one of the most obvious spaces or industries to bring onto chain.
He's absolutely right. It's one of the big. You think about the market. You think about how big market caps are. You can look at precious metals, whatever. But when you start looking at the real estate, I mean, it's massive. So it is interesting that he's positioning it, and he says here that he feels like we could take the tokens.
We felt that we could use tokens to exchange value and build a better level of trust in these relationships.
Yeah, and those relationships. And let's look at this right here. So this is what we took a look at. I remember we looked, you and I flipped out about this like a week or two ago. And remember they had they sold a home as an NFT. And if you look at this right here, let's take a look at this video. Can I just play this here? Let's see. Do you hear sound on that, Jeff?
Yep.
Okay, good.
For you and your home. We
check that
dream, we build, we deliver. ProprHome, enabling trusted real estate experiences.
Wow.
What do you say about that? There you go. I mean, it does make a lot of sense.
Thank you, and good night.
There you go.
Good night.
Do you like it?
Thank you, and
man, how many Wahoos are we going to get here? Can I get a Wahoo? I got to call. I got to call them.
Thank you, and good night.
Thank you very much. Jeff and I have a lot of fun with the soundboard, our custom soundboard over here. It's also a little bit fun. So yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Yay.
So here we go. Here we go. So there's one other clip. I don't think it's as exciting, but we can pop it in there. Problem is, which one is it, Jeff? I played a couple of them here. Let's see. I think it's this one here. This is actually the best of all the three. This was about from Ripple Swell. This is regulatory frameworks. This is Susan Freeman and from Ripple, and then Jess Halgrave, and she's the one from checkout.com.
I'm a big proponent that we should be regulating activity, but not technology. And conversations around, like, should we be regulating NFTs, I don't think are very productive for the industry. I don't think they're productive for the wider perception, because what ends up happening is that we have unclear messaging going out to the wider public around what this is and the potential benefits it has, and we end up kind of all tied up in thinking about this thing called crypto, which we're told is volatile and dangerous and bad for consumers, and we ignore actually some of the real benefits that it can bring on a B2B level, for enterprise, for moving value around the world.
Let's move some value.
Exactly, Jeff. And it's so funny how she basically said about, I mean, what are we wasting time with all this other ridiculous stuff when what she's talking about to the use case, talking about the use case of crypto, where everybody else is like, oh, it's nefarious and Bitcoin and gangsters are using it and troublemakers. Yeah, great. But you know what? They probably have 100,000 years before they catch up to all the nefarious activity that's been happening with fiat currency. But doesn't stop that narrative from happening, Jeff. That narrative is like their soul, really.
But it's really important, you know, because if we think about how you don't want to, attack the technology itself, and I think that's a big part of the problem, is that we have these individuals out there that are going after and focusing in on the technology, but not necessarily the players, or not necessarily the company. So if you take what they're trying to do right now as an example, you look at FTX, and they immediately, everything's always reactionary with the current administration, and sometimes zero reactionary, but think about from a fact that all of a sudden, FTX has this issue, and what are the power players, the politicians want to do? They immediately want to go through aggressive regulation. They don't want clarity. They don't want to go after and figure out, why did FTX just defraud? There's rules and laws on the books that are supposed to protect individuals from bad players, like what FTX has done to harm people. All that stuff, all that negative activity is already illegal. So why would you then focus in then on the whole global market and not just focus on their bad action? And I think we're going to see a change of attitude start, moving forward from this point, where you have to then focus. You want clarity, like Tom Emmer is talking about, like Warren Davidson talks about. We want clarity. We want rules of the road, but we don't want what Biden talks about, or Warren talks about, or Gary Gensler talks about, which is aggressive enforcement style regulation.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the whole problem, is they've got it totally wrong. They've totally got it wrong. I mean, it's pretty much a train wreck. And you want to see witness a train wreck? Look at this right here. This is a little bit hard to believe, but yeah, this is real. This is not a fake account. It's the real deal. Let's take a look at this. Do I have the right thing up there? There we go. Crickets, Jeff. Crickets. So Sam Bankman-Fried, 5 hours, tweeted out that I'll be speaking with Andrew Sorkin, I think he's from CNBC, right, at the DealBook Summit. DealBook is put on by the New York Times next Wednesday, 11:30. Okay, so if he's going to be speaking there, is he going to be doing it virtual? I'm betting he is, because I don't think he steps foot in the U.S.
I don't think he's going to be leaving the Bahamas. But hey, that's interesting though. He's going on. So is the DealBook? What is that? Is that how you get a book deal?
No, the DealBook is
go to a summit. They figure out how to pay you.
I happen to know about the DealBook because a buddy of mine had a very similar type of website, and that he got the cease and desist letter from the NY Times. So there you go. So And Bitcoin Archive said FTX founder, minutes after the FTX bankruptcy was signed, potential interest in billions of dollars of funding came in. Are you buying this, Jeff? Are you calling BS on this? What is going on?
It's all BS. Well, now he keeps talking about he's sorry that he filed for bankruptcy and it was too soon. There was another article where he singled out Alameda Research and went after, his girlfriend as the CEO and said that it was because they moved money over there and they messed things up and blah, blah, blah. Before it was like, I don't have problems sleeping and I'm playing video games too. I think when everything crashed, the reason why he was playing video games, he went immediately into repression mode and, he was in denial. At some point now he's blaming others. Eventually there'll be acceptance.
Yeah, Oz Crypto is right. Here it is. Another puff piece filled with softball questions. I mean, this is exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be to prop him up. And if you look at any of the, you remember, was it the New York Times that said that reason he failed was because a lot of people lost confidence in him? No, the reason he failed because he defrauded people and stole their money and used it for other things. I mean, that's pure fraud.
There we go. FTX free for all, SBF book deal, New York Times, November 30th. How is that clown walking around free? And I see that as well. So this guy isn't going to go, he's not going to go broke. He's not going to be penniless. He's not going to starve. His parents over the past couple of years bought $131 million in properties over in the Bahamas. He's got who knows how much money squirreled away in probably digital assets in private cold wallet someplace. And this guy, if they want to really prop him up, Chip, I see they're probably going to have him run for Congress. Maybe they'll want to.
You had a vegetable run and win last time. Supposedly, we're supposed to believe that, Jeff.
But you'll know that if they're going to run him for a political office, they're going to give him a book deal. They'll give him a massive book deal.
By the way, the book deal, in case just for you guys don't want to know or not in the know, let's put it that way. These politicians leave office, they do a book deal. Somebody buys up all the books. Nobody cares about reading them. This is another way they launder money, right? So you get a big book deal, $15 million up front. Nobody ever reads the book. Somebody buys in advance, clears them out, right? It's a way to launder money. Take the dirty money, you buy all the books, you throw them out, or you recycle them. So K-Heads here says, Sam, go ahead. Sam, Bahamas, and Miami, Florida. Play it. You're a little too quick on that trigger. Give him the dude that it's necessary. Go ahead, play it.
Ready?
Super chat.
There
Super
we
chat.
go.
Super chat. Yeah, go ahead.
For you, K-Head.
Super chat. Go. Super chat. Super chat. Thank you for that, K-Hud. Appreciate that.
All right.
Appreciate. Have you seen this, Jeff? The CBDC manifesto by the DEA, the Digital Euro Association. If not, take time to watch the video. I don't want to watch any more videos.
Love to see it.
I already watch. I only have enough time to watch certain videos. And that is, let me count them. Let me tell you what videos I watch. I watch Crypto Eddie, and I watch Jungle videos, and that's pretty much it. Oh, and then I read Oz Crypto. Yeah, that was just a little. That was a little bit. I was having a little bit of fun there. That was too much. just a little bit of fun there.
Our top two, Crypto Eddie and Joe.
It's up and down Ponzi scheme. They want to regulate crypto. This is basic TradeFi fraud. Absolutely is what it is.
Hey, did you know that Oz has a channel?
He does. He loves it. I love it.
I love it.
He said he saw that coming. Our favorite. We said, the other inside jokes. Our favorite channels. We got to do it, man. It has to.
We're gonna get as much mileage out of that one as we do with the steak.
Okay, so this is funny. So Sam Bankman, he talks about this, like funding came in. That's a positive thing. Let me comment on this tweet, and then let's talk about this one here. So John Deaton put this out 3 hours ago. He said, "Let me make this clear: Sam Bankman-Fried isn't arrested and charged with fraud, wire fraud, theft, and possibly money laundering before, and instead goes to spew out his bullshit narrative. Our system of justice has been compromised. Elizabeth Warren, you claim to be for the little guy. Where are you?"
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jeff. Yeah, so it starts looking like dirty pool here, right? It starts to look like dirty pool. It's like, well, And people were like, but no, it wasn't just the blue team. The red team also got money. Yeah, but the red team the candidates got money who were what? Never Trumpers. Haters. Yeah, that's exactly right. The haters. So it's like pseudo blue team members. Let's put it that way. Kind of the pseudo blue team. Not officially, but they're still in the same club. But it's getting bad. And he's so right. I mean, look at this BS narrative, dude. Insane. Off the chain unplugged.
So what was so talking about Elizabeth Warren, you had put something in the Keep with David Schwartz, kind of agreeing with Elizabeth Warren, and we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
We're gonna agree to disagree because nothing that comes out of her mouth has ever made sense, including the time when she said she was 50% American, Native American. Turned out to be less than a half.
Thank you, and good night. Thank you, and good.
Thank you. You turn off the loop, Jeff. You have the loop around there. So as we play this here, there it is right there. She's like a grandma, and she's always talking like this, and we have to. It's like, hey, put a bill for it. Nobody will vote for it. Nobody cares what you have to say.
Always talking down.
Pocahontas, yeah, she's always talking down. And here, look, the best part. Jeff, can you find her video when she was a candidate and she wanted to drink a beer? She's like, look, I'm drinking.
Oh my goodness.
If you can find that, Jeff.
She was fumbling around in her kitchen, like she didn't know where anything was in her kitchen.
And then her husband walks in the background. She goes, "Oh, honey, nice of you to stop by. It's in your freaking house."
Yeah.
What does he live down the street? I'm like, so shallow, so pathetic, so ridiculous. These politicians, right? And there's the look in her face with her grandmother specs. And so this one we got to break down. So David Schwartz believes that the Senator Elizabeth Warren might actually have a point when it comes to crypto. Jeff, we already know that she doesn't have a point, but let's indulge here, okay? So in a recent op-ed published by the Wall Street Journal, Warren argues that crypto might end up taking down the economy if there's no proper oversight. Sorry, your boy's in there. And you listen, Congress has had bill after bill after bill after bill. Then there was a Senate bill. There was bipartisan. And then the token taxonomy going back 3.5 years. And the nut job in Congress wants to know why something's not being done. This is just typical.
Oh, when we were talking about criminals and charlatans, I figured we were talking about Elizabeth Warren. But
well, she did defraud a lot of people. And then she got a sweet tenure. How'd you like to have a tenured gig making $400,000 a year for showing up for an 8-hour class once a week? Sounds like a good gig if you can get it. You just have to tell people that you're Native American. She said her papa and her mama said she had high cheekbones. That's why she thought she was Native American. Is anybody buying that? Nobody.
No, I might take down the economy.
Yeah, might. And it probably won't. So she said, even though the senator acknowledges that crypto could potentially make the financial system more inclusive, she also points out the fact that history is littered with all kinds of fraudulent schemes or advertised by criminals and charlatans. Sounds like a typical, old lady yelling at the TV. A lawmaker added that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission had to suit up as well. Warren took a swipe at crypto mining firms that the strain of the power grid and the increase the greenhouse gas emissions. I'm calling bullshit on that.
The strain on the power grid.
What strain, Jeff?
This is so ridiculous. I mean, we've talked about this so many times over. The power grids aren't facing any kind of strain. Maybe in California they faced strain where they have rolling blackouts, mainly because they're getting rid of all their nuclear power. But imagine you have a nuclear power plant. Isn't it? It's almost like unlimited power. Are you going to strain a nuclear power plant by running a crypto miner? Or how about that group up in Buffalo that took over a power plant, and they were using their own, or some of the, I think it was in Texas, and they were using surplus runoff power, and there's all sorts of different mechanisms. No strain on the grid. That's just made up. Just something that she heard someplace and decided it was a great idea. Just another one of those.
I think dumber than a box of rocks sums it up, Jeff. But here we go. OzCrypto says, I knew Chip always did.
So you got to go up to the first one.
What is this here? So tell me what this is. What's the first one?
Was Jeff always using the SM7B microphone?
Yeah, we always have. We've been using
Or is
one
that
not
new?
always,
Yeah,
but
I've always used it. I normally just keep it super low so you don't see it.
yeah.
Or
Well, I just
you-
keep it so it's not in my
but
face.
Sometimes I just kind of bring it up
This
here.
is what
like
this is what the
most
this is what the people you see on YouTubers like this. Hey, what's up? How are you?
guys.
You know, it's like it's sitting in their head. I mean, come on, man.
It's always done in this area. Got this cool mic
See.
thing
That's so-
going on. And we've even got what's that other thing we got over here?
we got a couple little doohickeys.
Got a whole bunch of little gadgets here in front of us.
Yeah, there's a
Oz.
whole bunch of gadgets here, but yeah, but the sound quality is pretty good though. It's the Joe Rogan mics
quality.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jeff always did too. So there you go. That makes sense. And then she goes into, and then so David Schwartz argues it's not an awful position to work with.
I don't understand.
It's a horrible position to work with. I
don't understand where he's coming from. I saw that. How does he say it's not an awful position? No, it is pretty awful.
Horrendous.
None of what you said makes any sense. It's like right from
Oh, but I know David likes to just upset the apple cart. He likes to throw stuff in there. It's not an awful position. No, not awful. How about horrendously hideous? I mean, it's bad. Warren has long been one of Congress' crypto skeptics. Why? She's going to find a way to tax it, to make people suffer. This is kind of that's where when you're in the blue party, it's kind of what you want to do. You want to just crush people, hopes and dreams, and the good people win. You know, people that are in the club, Jeff, not us. We're not in the club. None of us are in the club, really. So probably there's no club.
we're in the On the Chain club.
That's about the only club we're at. What was that?
Throw that one up.
Which one?
Nope.
Which one are we throwing up there?
Oh, in the chat. In the chat. Where'd it go? I tagged it. There it is.
No, when you tag it, I can't see it anymore. It changes the color.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh, chat. Like that. That's the Bill. That's the Chip and Jeff excellent adventure. Excellent.
Do not invest any crypto with ties to the Dem Party or woke CEOs, and you'll be okay.
Go woke and you go broke. Did you see what Disney did? Disney had to pull back the OCEO because they thought it was the CEO's what the CEO was doing. Meanwhile, it's the entire company. It's like, we'll just change the CEO. Probably that'll make everything better. Probably not.
Probably not. Max Payne Warren and her negative stance on crypto with the recent FTX drama and how government is tied in, is pushing a narrative for oversight, regulation. So it's a double-edged sword scenario for this space. Price is less than clarity. Less important. Less price. We need clarity. We need clarity. That's
What are you
true.
saying, man? What are you saying?
Clarity. We don't want the overzealousness. We don't want the regulation. We don't want Gary Gensler's incompetence. Gary Gensler would claim his incompetence was due to climate change. Could very well be the fact. Do you guys see the t-shirts Elon Musk found in the closet? Yeah, and he made a new one.
Yeah, the new one. Let me pull the new one up.
Hey, the new one was great.
Actually, we gotta play the original one because otherwise it won't make sense to most people, Jeff. So I think we have to.
Good Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving. Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that, Ron. We'll have a good one. But I have to tell you that I don't think Twitter's ever been this much fun. I'm having a blast. I've never laughed so hard. So this is let's show this here. These are the t-shirts that Elon Musk found.
Yep. At Twitter.
Hashtag stay woke. He says there's an entire closet full of this stuff. Hashtag woke. Right? So he put out this t-shirt, which I think is a better t-shirt. Hashtag stay at work. That's just fantastic. What a fantastic sense of humor. Man, I'm telling you, Jeff, I love to laugh. Let's get into this one here. I want to show this one here. So this is just ridiculous. So here we go. So Jeff Roberts put this tweet out. I'm not sure who Jeff Roberts is, but we're going to find out. Anyway, I saw this tweet. Look at Jeff Roberts. Check out Jeff Roberts, crypto editor of Fortune magazine. Okay, that's who Jeff Roberts is, Jeff. That's now we know. So I was like, Jeff, Jeff, do you know who Jeff Roberts is?
I do. Jeff John Roberts.
Do you know who he is?
I do not.
I just showed you. You weren't paying attention, Jeff. He's the editor of
too focused on Bloomberg, Fortune magazine.
Fortune magazine. All right, you got that's perfect. Yeah. So he says, fresh off Sam Bankman-Fried's puff piece that the New York Times did, that they said, well, some people lost confidence in him. Maybe that's why he'll lose his money. Then they even spun that into Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump will probably do the same, and he'll go broke. I was like, dude, what does that have to do with anything? And so he says, the New York Times goes easy on Gary Gensler. Look at this, ridiculous.
Look at
these.
What?
These are the people who like to give each other awards. Do you want an award? We'll all get an award. Everybody gets an award. They give each other awards. They have award banquets.
They probably photoshopped him into that. He never leaves his study.
It looks like a gym or something. I don't know. Are those like machines? I don't know. It's a chair, a courthouse. There's like an old static phone there. And here it is right here. Inside crypto nemesis campaign, reign in the industry. Gary Gensler, the chair of the SEC, is at the center of the reckoning over the future of cryptocurrency after the implosion of FTX. This is just pure garbage. And then look at this. David Yaffe Bellany. A little.
Go back up real quick. No, to the phone.
Oh, the phone. Look at the phone. Look at the phone.
Why is he sitting at? Why does that phone have any relevance? What is it on?
I think this is the SEC. I think he's standing on the other side. I think this is where somebody answers phones. It looks like the SEC logo on there.
Oh, I used to have. Oh, I moved the phone. It's not here anymore. I was going to pick up my black phone. I got this. I got my little Nokia. Look at that. Call.
So you see how they're propping them up. They're going to all tell each other stories, and then they're going to congratulate each other and give themselves awards. So then Stuart Alderoty chimed in on Jeff Roberts' tweet and said, to be clear, the SEC hasn't labeled XRP a security, nor does it have the power to do so. One judge put it this way: the SEC can only ask the question, and the court ultimately answers. Boom, Jeff. Where's the boom sound? Where is the boom and boom, boom, boom?
Boom! Boom! Boom!
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. So there's right there. So, and then XRP Crow's always on this stuff. He like puts his picture and makes a really nice sort of a banner card out of it. It's just fantastic, man.
So we've got some Sam Ross. Gary is not even human. The dude looks like E.T.
Super chat. I like our super chat official music, Jeff. I'm really liking it.
Pretty sweet, especially when we got another one right behind it.
Kind of looks like an alien.
What does that say? Cheney acid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Nice.
There you go. There it is. There you have it. And let's go to, what else do we have queued up here?
AR is still getting FTX fortunes in his Chinese takeout fortune cookies.
Are you still getting those? They probably had a ton of them. Jeff, this story comes from this is the deep folder that we have on our computers called the probably nothing. I'm sure it's nothing. I'm sure it's just, just a quinkydink, as they say, a coincidence. But look at this. Bankman-Fried's FTX senior staff, parents, bought Bahamas property worth $300 million. Nice. I'm sure it's just it's probably nothing, Jeff.
Yeah,
FTX.
Nothing. I'm sure they've got nothing going on there.
Yeah, so they had 7 condos in a high-end resort for key personnel. Bankman-Fried's parents are owners of a $16.4 million vacation home. It's a vacation home, Joe. It's not their permanent residence. It's just a place they visit once in a while worth $16.4 million USD. Bankman-Fried tells Reuters, seeking to return deed to FTX, the bankrupt company. Well, hallelujah. What about all the politicians that were on the dole with the money laundering? The money went over to Ukraine. Ukraine invested in FTX, and then it ended up back in the coffers of the politicians on both sides, I might add, on the Republican and on the Democrat side, both of them. And have any of them rushed to a mic and said, hey, think we're going to give this back. Not a one, Jeff.
Not a one has done anything positive.
Remotely.
Finally, I move this over where it's usable. There we go. Okay.
And there you have it. There you have it.
Thanksgiving food choice.
What do you got there, Jeff? You got something to put up there?
Turkey. What do people eat for Thanksgiving? Turkey.
Pasta.
I saw
pasta.
Rye guy thought this was up here. Your top things. Do people eat ham on turkey?
Ham, yeah, I think some people do, but I think ham's like the. I
brisket.
think the ham's more like a Christmas thing.
All right, turkey, ham, brisket, or pasta.
Pasta. Turkey's going to win the overwhelming one.
Spaghetti. Nobody eats spaghetti. Come on.
So the Senate AG hearing will hold a FTX hearing on December 1st with testimony from the CFTC chair, Susan Friedman, and she runs policy over at Ripple there. She's the head of public policy, hoping this serves as the catalyst for substantive movement on the crypto policy front. In the 118th Congress, that's the new day, Jeff, stronger regulatory frameworks enacted globally could have prevented the FTX situation from occurring in the first place. Probably not, but you could have.
What is Susan Friedman's role?
She's the head of policy.
The head of policy at Ripple. So, and I get it, what she's saying here. It's interesting. She's hoping that this serves as a nice catalyst because the whole FTX thing has really caused a little bit of chaos, and it's been a little bit of an eye-opener on what could happen. But do we really want stronger regulatory frameworks, or do we want regulatory clarity? And maybe she's interchanging those two terminologies, but I think about stronger regulatory framework as, aggressive licensing, limits on who can buy crypto, accredited investor only, limit what kind of exchanges can exist, maybe only allowing their buddies at Wall Street to be able to buy and sell crypto and offer it up in mutual funds so you can't buy it directly. That to me, that's what, if I look at strong regulatory frameworks, that's what I think.
Yeah, she probably didn't mean it in that context, but that's kind of like the vibe it kind of gave me too. I just want to check in what's going on in the chat, Jeff. And it looks like Legendary said the Bugs Bunny will save us from Marvin Martian. Turns out Alchemist says Bugs Bunny is an underrated actor. I could not agree with you more, Alchemist, on that one. Completely underrated and good. Savvy Granny. Hi all. I'm late, but I made it today. And she is very savvy because she bought
with us a long time too.
She bought XRP at 0.006. She bought Bitcoin when I think it was a few dollars. So, and now she's schooling the rest of her family as they reached out, and she said, "I'm so sorry, suckers. Eat Thanksgiving yourself. I will sit there and eat myself grapes. By all servants will be grapes." Because she's really sweet. She would definitely not say that, but I'm just saying it could potentially be.
So Sophie is mentioning, because Legendary is talking about Marvin and all that. So Sophie's saying that there used to be an XRP guy.
Yeah, remember that guy?
He was in his car and did videos at the beach.
I remember that guy. That's right. Whatever happened to that dude?
I
don't know.
I'm not sure exactly what happened to him.
That's right. He used to sit there in his car and he was like, I have like just enough to live for the next 3 weeks. Yeah, we haven't heard from him. There's like nothing. It's like completely silence. Silencia. Bug Bunny is my girl. Babs Bunny. Oh, Babs. That's right. Babs is the girl. That was. All right. Let me get that right. I had the wrong one. Babs and Bugs.
Bunny.
You had Bad and Bubs. All right. So let's go to the next story here. Another
DM
one.
Logic. How could you forget DM Logic? He used to be. He was.
No, it wasn't DM Logic. There's another guy. I know DM Logic. I'm talking about the other dude. There was another guy who was like living in his car. That wasn't DM Logic. We've had DM Logic on the show. He's awesome.
He was living in his car?
He was living in his car. That's the guy I'm talking about. DM Logic would be in his truck. He was on his way to work, would do the videos. No, it's not DM Logic. That's not what we're talking about. And this one from Susan Friedman. Jeff, Susan Friedman is what? Do you know what her role is at Ripple?
Head of policy.
Sorry. Yeah, it's true. Technically, it's head of public policy, but I just shortened it to head of policy.
Oh, there you go.
So, but
So
it's the same.
here's the outcome of the vote. We probably saw it. Thanksgiving food choice: turkey 62%, ham 16%, spaghetti 12%, brisket 8%.
So turkey was the big one.
62%.
What was behind that?
Ham at 16, and then
Weird.
spaghetti a near third at 12, and brisket at 8.
Brisket sounds good too. Anyway, so Susan Friedman said this, hoping. So she was commenting on Zach Warrenbrought's tweet. It's about the. Did I just play this one? Man, I know I had another tweet of hers in there. How did I miss it? Are these the same two tweets? Did I put that in there twice?
Maybe put it up anyways.
I just put it up. I can't put it up there twice. I thought I put two of them in there from her. Here it is. Okay, yeah, this is the other one. Sorry about that. It's just sometimes Google Keep gets a little crazy. So Andrew Whitworth, hello. My name is Andrew Whitworth, and I come from a very well-to-do family. Here he is right here, Andrew Whitworth. I don't know who that is really. It just sounds like one of those uppity names.
Andrew Whitworth.
Andrew Whitworth. I come from a long line of crazy people. So he says I couldn't. We're all uppity. We drink in the morning. He said I couldn't agree more with the comments from the Bank of England's John Cunliffe that the UK needs a regulatory framework for crypto that will prevent wider destabilization of the final system in light of situations such as FTX. It's like blah, 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 FTX, blah, 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 SBF, blah, 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 right? So you do all that. Susan Friedman said, gratifying to see the Bank of England Deputy Governor John Cunliffe's speech acknowledging that the time to act on crypto regulation is now. We provide our views on how the UK can lead in the space here. So she worked that in there. We like what the Deputy Governor said. And we also, here's our stuff here. And they put out that beautiful blog article extolling the virtues of having crypto regulation in the UK. But it's all it's lost on today's. But there you go.
Somebody said I left out pumpkin pie, so I had to redo the pie question.
Oh, you can't
have Thanksgiving without pumpkin pie.
Did you have pumpkin and apple in there?
I put apple, peach, rhubarb.
Sorry, dude, no one eats Dude, have you ever been to a Thanksgiving dinner? I'm like really worried about you. You've never ever been to a Thanksgiving dinner?
Apparently not. Fairly up.
Rhubarb, dude. If rhubarb gets a vote, if somebody just votes on that to make Jeff look good here, rhubarb should get 0. Nobody eats rhubarb pie, dude. Especially on Thanksgiving. I even had chocolate pie.
Yeah, I've got pumpkin, apple, peach, and cherry pie.
That's better.
And I'll tell you what. So this is going to be a crazy outcome. This is really crazy. I'm actually shocked. But the problem is you can only put up 4 pies. Otherwise, I would have put up some pecan pie.
Pecan pie. Get some pecan pie.
Some pecan pie.
Some pecan pie.
Sweet potato pie.
That's a good one too.
The survey only have 4. So pumpkin, apple, peach, maybe nobody. I guess. Can you believe peach is at 32%?
Let it roll out, Jeff. Come on, give it a shot. Give it a chance, please.
Only got 19 votes. Come on, we got everybody chime in and vote. You got to vote on this one. This has got to be.
People in here. Let's go.
I want to see the vote on this poll. Thanksgiving pies.
All right, let's do this right here while you're doing that.
Once cherry.
I don't know who Crypto Chief Commander is, but this was a pretty cool.
He's got a blue check mark.
HBAR did an ICO. Algo did an ICO. Quant did an ICO. IOTA did one. XLM. XDCE. I don't know what that one is.
Oh, yes, you do.
VeChain.
They went from XDC to XDC.
Oh, that was XDC. That was that, right. They went to XDCE to XDC. Yep. VeChain did one. DAG did one. ETH did one. The only XRP didn't do an ICO yet, and it's accused of being a security.
Come on,
Jeff. How is that the one? It didn't have it, but for some weird reason, how is that even possible? I mean, but yet, for some reason, unbeknownst to anybody, nobody knows. How wicked weird is that? I want to show you guys this. I thought this was pretty cool. xrp.cafe is live. xrp.cafe is live. Supports XLS20 NFT transactions for a bunch of different artists up here. So there you go right there. The Bearable Bulls are there. The X-Blades, the X-Peppies, X-Punks. Put your project in here. It's pretty cool to see another exchange out there. And then and then so look who it is. It's so I know Moonkey. I met Moonkey, and let's see, Jebsy's there, part of this team.
Savvy Granny is a Buddhist. She eats 1 meal a day, fasts for 3 days every 3 months. That's why
good.
She's so healthy and hasn't been to a doctor in 50 years. I like that. A 3-day fast every 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do 22-hour fast, but that's actually pretty good. I'm gonna have to do that. It's a good idea, and that's right, because back in the day, you weren't eating 3 meals a day. It just wasn't happening. You didn't eat maybe for 2 days.
Boom, there you go.
Strawberry rhubarb. Whoa, hey now.
See?
Hey now.
Here you go. Eric is saying DM Logic is not a real XRP holder. He sold his XRP to buy Celsius, and we all saw what happened to Celsius.
Womp, 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 womp. There you go. There you have it, man. So put this tweet up.
Not doing an ICO will end up benefiting all of us. There you go.
There's a good tweet storm that Mark Phillips put up, who was guesting for you last week, Wednesday. SEC published a new strategic plan. The SEC must work to ensure the law is enforced aggressively and consistency. And this is it. For fiscal years 2022 to 2026, protecting investors, maintaining fair, orderly, efficient markets, facilitating capital formation. But they're not doing, and there he is, the chief doofus himself. And then a lot of reading that says, we will come after you aggressively. He goes on to say that integrity, we inspire public confidence and trust by adhering to the highest ethical standards. Yeah, okay. I'd call BS on that. Excellence, we're committed to excellence in pursuit of our mission on behalf of the American people.
That's their mission. Their mission is
accountability. We embrace our responsibilities and hold ourselves accountable to the American public. Bad news. Teamwork. We recognize that success depends on skilled, diverse, coordinated team committed to the highest standards of trust. Can we just run the buzzer on this? The whole thing is garbage, Jeff. The whole thing is garbage. Fairness. We treat investors and market participants and others fairly. Holy cow, this is horrible. Absolutely horrendous.
Calm down. All right, there we go.
The angry mob is coming for Gary G. Mr. Gensler.
Mr. Gensler. All right, I'm ending this poll. Right now. You know what wins? Pumpkin pie, 43%. Apple pie, 35%. Peach, 15%. And nobody likes cherry pie, 5%. 5%.
Oz Crypto says, I never go to the doctor. I don't want bad news. I want to live happy, dead. That's how it happens sometimes, man. That's how it happens. So anyway, that's pretty much all we have for you guys. Listen, if you guys are in the U.S. celebrating Thanksgiving, have a joyous and very merry, awesome Thanksgiving. And if you're not, soldier on, man. Keep fighting a good fight. And we will be back. Jeff, go ahead and see if you can take us out of here in a nice little orderly fashion so we can get out of here.
Thank you, and good night.
Appreciate all of you guys for joining us tonight on the eve of Thanksgiving. You guys are amazing. We have the best and the brightest of all crypto YouTube space. You guys are amazing. Love you guys. Thank you also for the super chats. Thank you to our On the Chain members. You guys are amazing. Got a lot of great things coming up. And guys, have an amazing Thanksgiving. We'll check you guys back out right here Saturday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. How great is that? How great is that?
And just for fun, should we play the old outro just for fun?
The old outro for
Sean's not here. We have to play it. We'll play it when Sean's here. He's
might
not
be
here.
there in the background.
All right,
out.
guys. Have yourselves a great Thanksgiving from On the Chain. Guys, enjoy your rhubarb cherry pie. So,
We're going to get strawberry rhubarb cherry pie.
There we go, guys. Chip and Jeff out. We will see you guys on the next one. We're out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.